Welcome, everybody, to another episode of MC Fireside Chats. My name is Brian Searl with Insider Perks and Modern Campground as well. Excited to welcome you back to another episode of our focused topics of marketing, AI, and technology. We've kind of pivoted this show to focus a little bit more on that. We feel like it's an important topic that not too many people are, like we've always talked about marketing. We've always talked about tech in disjointed ways, right? But I think we have an opportunity to bring it together here and lead some thoughtful discussions around the industry about those different things. So excited to have a couple recurring guests here. I've got Cara Csizmadia, who's a new recurring guest for us, a new old recurring guest for us. Kind of went through a love-hate relationship with us, I think. She just disappeared off the show for a year, didn't want to talk to us, and then came back. She was like, I miss you, Brian.
Yeah.
Or maybe that was the other way around. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
But I'm back. Look at me go.
Yeah, we need to talk about Canada more. So excited to have Cara back as a recurring guest in week 4. We've got Ravi. Please introduce yourself, Ravi.
I'm Ravi. I'm the founder of RoverPass. We're a reservation software in the camping industry. Been
Awesome,
doing
thanks.
it for many years. Yeah.
Thanks for being here, Ravi. We'll explore more about RoverPass and some other things. And Nate, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Nate Taylor of Taylor Coach. We're a family-run and operated business since 1967 on third generation in the manufacturing of recreational vehicles. And that's us.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, Nate. We'll explore a little bit more about Taylor Coach T. We're supposed to have Greg Emmert here, who said he was going to show up. We're supposed to have Kurtis Wilkins here, who also said he was going to show up. We'll see if they show up. But if not, we'll have a good discussion anyway, guys. So I think we were talking backstage a little bit about some things we'll get into in a few minutes. I just want to ask, Cara, I know it's your first week kind of back, but is there anything that's come across your desk that you feel like you should update us on, talk about? It's been a while since you've been on the show, right? How's Canada doing? How's all the things going?
Canada's actually been great this summer. I think there was some trepidation at the early start of the season for 2025, just a lack of certainty around how, what travel patterns were going to look like for folks this year. But it's been a really busy summer for members across the country. A lot of our Canadian campers have decided to stay home in 2025. But that favorable kind of currency exchange dynamic has kept our American visitors still visiting. Lots of international traffic. All of that has been great. The rental market is doing really, really well. So things have been great this summer so far. We've had, plagued by stuff we typically see in the summers these days. Certain regions of the country dealing with wildfire and things like that. Which is obviously always really challenging. But otherwise, in general, overwhelmingly positive feedback from the members. And now, we're really in that phase at the association level where we're transitioning into fall and planning all of our conference and education events. And, we've got a couple of regional in-person events happening across the country this fall. Lots of education. I think, the AI and marketing components have really kind of shifted to the top of the list of priorities for members in terms of the kinds of things they want to learn about and start preparing for, what has already, I think, been a kind of tidal wave shift in strategy for, humans in general, I think, but certainly for the industry needs to start to prepare for, a shift in consumer behavior and activity and how they're searching for campgrounds and planning trips and all of those things. So, staying on top of that has been top of mind for us in terms of preparing content and being mindful about where the industry is going. And that's coupling, I think, at the same time with shifts in manufacturing strategy and, new technology and components in the RV industry. We're dealing with some changes to the NFPA 1192 code. And so that's having some implications for campgrounds in Canada who will need to address, their electrical infrastructure challenges and things like that, just to ensure that those newer model year units are functional in all of our Canadian campgrounds and avoid any consumer disenchantment with that. Lots of moving parts. I think the AI and kind of tech stuff is definitely at the forefront right now. So yeah, hopefully I can contribute to this conversation today on that front. I'm certainly no techie by any means, but like I said, we're working on stuff related to it so much right now that I'm keen to learn from everyone on this monthly call for sure.
Well, I think it's super beneficial to have people who are not super techie on the show, right? Like, you know your way around technology, but as do most campground owners, to be fair, right? Like, it's just there's so much new technology. It's changing so fast, especially in AI, that it's like, how do you even keep up? How do I even keep up? Right? So I think it'll be an interesting discussion to have. We have Greg, who decided to show up fashionably late for the show. Thanks, Greg. Do you have a watch?
You're welcome.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, Cara, good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
I can get you one. I'll put it on the Christmas list for you if you need something.
No, I have a watch, bro. It reads now because it's the only time that matters. Bam. Bam.
Who invited this guy to the show? I'm not sure.
Blame Shara. It's not your fault.
All right, so I think what I'd like to have today, and you guys can disagree with me, and maybe steer it in a different direction depending on what you guys say and how the interaction goes. But I was planning on having a conversation today about marketing overall, and I think this would be a good diversification for the industry. We can talk about it from the association level, from a Canadian campground perspective. We can talk about it from a software perspective. We can talk about it from a Taylor coach perspective. We can talk about it from, I don't know, whatever Vireo is. What is Vireo again?
It is an outdoor advisory, consulting, and coaching firm.
How come you just don't call it that, man, instead of a weird bird name?
That's a lot to say, right? That's a lot to say. Isn't it better just to say Vireo? It's kind of poetic. It's like the bird. It's resilient. It's adaptable. Okay, we don't need to go into all that.
No one actually knows what it is, though, so you have to explain it anyway and say it anyway. So you might as well just, I don't know. Anyway, all right. It's all marketing, right?
Yeah, but my swag would have a really long list of words on it, so
it'd be more eye-catching then.
Okay, I suppose it would.
Have people wear or like give away at a trade show.
Yeah, I'd be giving away sombreros.
Perfect.
So, like, I think this is interesting. Like, I mean, from my perspective, I'll kick this off, and then I think we can go around the room and talk about how each of you guys first are using AI. Like, is this an okay topic for you guys? Like, are you happy with this?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Like, I think from my perspective, there's so much that is changing in the field of marketing. For like, it has to do with AI, but also like it just has to do with marketing and attention and where people are discovering where to camp, what to do, where to buy trailers, what software to use, what consulting services to use, where to go camping, what Canadian campground to go camping at, whatever else, right? Everything is fundamentally shifting. And I think lots of people are having the ChatGPT conversation. Well, maybe not lots, but more people are having the ChatGPT conversation than are having the conversation about how does this actually change how I do marketing? And I'll give you a couple examples, and then I want to just go around the room first before I go into all my thoughts. But like, one of them is the top two ways that I've seen the majority of businesses outside of their own website focus on marketing over the last, let's call it 10 to 20 years, depending on whether you're talking about search or social media, has been email marketing and social media outside of the website. And I think those two things are, like, let's take email marketing, for example, as the low-hanging fruit. People have spent the better part of 20 years carefully crafting these messages, writing beautifully designed templates, focusing on their call to actions, the exact words, the subject lines that will get the clicks, the whatever else, right? They agonize over this stuff, and there is a good return on email marketing. But I think that there's, all the way back from 2021, when Apple started opening emails on their server, and that would inflate the open rate of your email marketing, it almost doubled some people overnight. There's still a large, sizable chunk of people who do email marketing on behalf of businesses who are unaware that exists. All the way up until what we're heading into today is like, you can open up Gmail or you can open up Outlook on your phone if you're running your email through that, and they're either starting to or they're going or already summarize your emails for you on your lock screen. I think Apple got some press for doing a terrible job about this, but we all know Apple's not the smartest cookie in the box when it comes to AI. or whatever a phrase is that I can make up that sounds similar like that. Hopefully they're going to catch up. If they summarize it in the lock screen, I think that's something that's coming to Android. So you're going to get to the point where your emails are no longer all red. They're summarized into a daily summary of here's the emails you got. Is there anything you'd like to know more about, or I can surface for you, or I can tell you, right? And B2B will be different. Like Ravi, you'll read all your email. Nate, you're going to read all your email. I'm going to read all my email because it might be business, right? But the consumer is going to be different. The person who wants to buy the trailer, or the campground owner who wants to have the piece of software or whatever. And they're not going to see that carefully crafted message anymore. They're not going to see the call to action that you've agonized over for 3 hours in meetings with your marketing team over the last 2 weeks, right?
I got a point on all this because it's interesting you talk about, because as a company perspective on all that, I think what's wrong with our industry more than anything is we go so tech savvy. It is more an industry where we all sit around a campfire with beers, having a discussion about our RVs or that kind of stuff. And I think that the industry forgets, and I think some of the best marketers in our industry was like Grand Design. They went and put it in a bunch of YouTubers' hands, made videos on it. And then everyone sits around the campfire and then talks. Did you see that video of so-and-so at the campfire? And if they had missed problems or anything like that. And I think our industry, I think more people consume video marketing than they do reading marketing. I think people love watching other people camp and get ideas of them camping, and our industry doesn't tap into it. The manufacturers don't tap into it enough. You only have a few of them that did. Like I said, Grand Design was one of the big ones when they started out, when they were just before they got bought by Winnebago. They really tapped into it and they really pushed their product. And all of a sudden, everybody wanted to have a Grand Design. And it's been a very interesting dynamic to the industry, because before YouTube, you wouldn't have done that. You would just hope that someone would talk about it at the campfire, where now they're giving it to people to do it. And, and then like you said, on the AI on your phone, stuff like that, our phones are deciding what we want to see. So you send out these emails, they go to the junk mail and you never see it. So our industry is jumping all this money into it instead of just giving it to a handful of people to go to the campfire and talk about it. And I think that's one of our misses in our industry is, we're into family, we're into disconnecting. That's why we go to the bush to camp or go to the park with our family to go down slides or whatever avenues that the parks offer, from all the different parks in Canada. Because, you go to, I don't know how many are, because we now with not Tesla, but Elon Musk coming out with Starlink, it now made internet in the park more accessible, because before that, it wasn't a thing. Like you'd be standing on top of the rock, on top of the hill going, okay, I got Wi-Fi bars, climb the tree. Maybe I can hear you. So I think our industry sometimes misses the boat where people are actually consuming the content. I think they focus so much on the seniors and stuff like that, but anyone new coming in the industry, no one really taps the young generation coming up, like trying to get them into it. Because I'm a millennial, and some of my customers coming in are Gen Zs and stuff like that, and they're not doing email. That's not a thing anymore, right? Like it's not the they don't even look at email. If you send them an email, they're never going to look at it.
Yeah,
so,
you got to text them.
You got to text them.
I can talk about it from, like, I think, Nate, your perspective is on the consumer side because you're selling to the consumer. I mostly sell business to business. So, like, the strategies are a little different. And, Brian, you mentioned, like, 3 different, I think did you say SEO? I can't remember.
No, I didn't, but I talked about website briefly.
Website, yeah, okay. So I think there's a couple interesting things happening across all of those domains. So website, let's talk about that. So website development, for one. There's been WordPress, there's been Wix, there's been all these Squarespace, blah, blah, whatever. There's tons of them out there now. But there's tools like Lovable where you just literally go to ChatGPT, you tell it what you're trying to build, and then it writes like a specification document, and then you just copy and paste that into Lovable, and it one-shots like a beautiful website for
GPT-5 can do that too now. But yeah,
can it? Yeah. Okay, I didn't realize. Yeah, well, with Codex, right?
With GPT-5 Thinking, the new one will actually code the HTML and will run it in the canvas for you.
Yeah, okay. So
that's some pretty good design chops, actually. It's
interesting because, like, the speed at which you can get a website up is like it used to be you had to get a guy, they would have to build it for you. It'd take, weeks or months even. Now you can do it I could do it while eating breakfast, in the morning. I could stand up a new entire website in 15 minutes and deploy it to the web. So from that perspective, marketing and building compelling stories on a website is just so much easier nowadays. And you obviously want to go in and customize a website from there. The AI is not going to get it perfect the first time, but you just continue to talk to it and eventually you get it to where you want it to go.
Yeah, the design is done. It's settled science, right? Like
Yeah.
it's done. It's
And
the
most
other
of them
things though, then it's the conversation like Nate was talking about, right? And finish in a second, Ravi, because I want to hear the rest of your thoughts. But it's the 20,000-foot view that Nate's talking about, right? It's and it goes back to the same thing that we're dealing with now with AI and the email and the websites that you're talking about. And it's the inability of people to have either enough time or patience or knowledge or will to learn about how things are different and how things are changing, right? Email marketing to YouTube in the case of Nate, right? Or website design to there's more things that are involved in a website besides making it look pretty. They don't know what they don't know. And so if you're looking at Nate's reasoning for video, of course that's better. Like so many people just overthink and then try to be selfish is what I found. Like you're overthinking the execution of it, but then the selfishness of it is I want to sell something. If your marketing is flipped around and you're not overthinking it, you're just saying what would be something really cool that the consumer would resonate with, sitting around a campfire, hanging out at the trailer, roasting
100%.
marshmallows, whatever else, something like that. Then you're not overthinking it. And then if you're taking that marketing message and you're putting it out there to provide value to somebody instead of trying to sell, you'll probably sell more than if you were trying to sell the thing.
I think there's a big component here of establishing trust and brand awareness and all of that. The feedback I continually get when we're talking about AI certainly on the business side, for campground owners to be utilizing a lot of these tools, they have this inherent kind of distrust of some of those things that I think fostering that trustworthiness as brands, whether you're a manufacturer or software provider or whatever, is necessary so that everything that's out there for the AI to grab about you and serve to the potential consumer is still in that trustworthy voice, and you can only really do that by generating that really individualized or personable content that feels genuine. And around the campfire they're going to talk about it, all of those things. I feel like these are building blocks that have to happen now as this continues to develop and consumer expectation shifts, because the Gen Zs are using it already and they want you to text them about it. But they only want you to text them if they know who you are and they can trust you, right?
Well, but that's part of the problem, right? Is the era for building trust where you were able to, as a Taylor coach, you said you're third generation, right, Nate?
Yep.
To
100%.
build trust, you've built the trust, right?
Yep.
Ravi's built the trust because he's been in Rover Pass since 2016, Ravi?
2016, yeah.
Good. I have a good memory. I usually forget most things. Greg has not built trust because he's new and we don't know who he is. I don't even know why he's on the show.
That's right.
But so he's different, right? Cara's built trust with CCRVA because they've been there forever. I've built trust because I'm an old guy and I've been in the industry since 2009-10, right? Today, it is 150 times at least harder to start a new brand and to build trust than it ever has been before. And it's only going to get harder because of AI video and AI photos and AI, none
100%.
of it is real anymore.
That's right.
So
That's the problem right there.
Yeah.
I keep thinking that where the value for businesses is just providing exceptional service.
Mm-hmm.
And I think AI helps you do that, right? Because you can hyper personalize the service down. How you do that is the tricky part, right? That's what we're talking about here, is how do you provide fully customized content for a specific person as opposed to a mass mass outlet, which is, I think, the way it's been done in the past. But now I think with AI, you can get super granular in the content that you're creating. At least this is my perspective, and this is how I think about it, is like, if a customer wants to hear about X, Y, and Z, I could create a video just for that customer, only for that customer, for X, Y, and Z. I no longer have to create a video that caters to all of my customers. I can literally make exactly what that customer needs and wants, as long as I hear and understand what they're telling me.
Well, that's the future. Like, that's the future of it, right? Like, in 10 years, we're going to look back on this era when we mass emailed people and be like, what the fuck were we thinking?
Yeah.
And everybody's going to get a one-to-one email, a one-to-one text, a one-to-one YouTube video, a one-to-one everything. That's yeah, for sure. That's gonna sell a lot more. Right?
Yep.
I don't know if that's the future. I think it's now. It's just getting it.
Well, it has to be built into the systems. It has to be built into the HubSpots and to the video. Like, the video creation is there, but it still is, you have to have a person sit in front of a VO3 and make or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, but I think even with the video stuff, what happens with so much of it is people spend too much time trying to make a perfect video. We all have cell phones.
Yep.
I literally, when we do our walkthrough videos for the trailers, some people go, well, your audio is not good or whatever. I take my Apple phone, I film it. We film for 5 minutes. I have it uploaded in another 5 minutes to the internet. Done. And it's one of those things. I think too many businesses try to make it look too perfect. Nobody cares about perfect, because then it takes the human element out of it. And I think that people like EI, when you're filling stuff in and trying to when I'm filling out the box, it auto-fills most of it for me, because I'm copy and pasting it in and out, and it remembers what I said. But the actual video, if you make a mistake, and like a common one my dad does is we have Go Power Solar, right? Most people know who Go Power Solar is. They're pretty big in the industry, and he'll go Pro. And I'm like, Dad, that's the old camera we used to use. Why are you even talking about that? But we leave it in the video because it makes it personal. So when people call, it's like, oh, yeah, that's funny. You called it GoPro, because I think everyone wants it so perfect and so machine that AI has its purposes on filling stuff out, making sure you spell stuff correct, and make sure it makes sense. Like, you writing in the description box something that doesn't make sense, AI fixes that. So it fixes your grammar, fixes all that stuff. But on the filming, they take the AI, like Rav said, and they go through, and it makes it all perfect, and then people watch it and they know it's fake. We all have seen enough YouTubes. We know what's fake. We know what's real. We know when guys make mistakes, and when they leave the mistakes in, it's better than when you see it chop, and they try to make it look better. And and that in the marketing, AI is going to have its fill on some things, but you got to keep the personality in it too. And I think too many people take the personality out. And we deal lots of business to business too, because I deal with all the manufacturers from buying and everything. And even my manufacturers, like if I go on and I want to look on hangs, for example, on different vents, their website sucks. They don't show anything. They don't show you part numbers. You call them up, and and it's our manufacturers supplying parts have done a terrible job. But then you see guys like Lippard, and everyone goes, oh, Lippard, they're everywhere. No, Lippard's everywhere because they've done a better job with AI. And when you buy parts from them, you can find it on their website. So us as a manufacturer can put it in our product. So, and that's the things that made it faster on those ends. So like, it's a kind of fine line where AI is perfect, and then where you have to keep a personality into it to,
well, you can't lose the authenticity, which is what you're saying, right? Like,
that's humanity. I think for me, that's a big part of this, is all the automations and all those things start to feel really impersonal. And so then, who am I buying from? Is this a trustworthy, again, back to that trustworthy integrity kind of component there, is without the humanity, it feels robotic. And there might be a niche section of the market who is cool with dealing with the robots all the time, but not
just like there's a niche section of the market, niche, I don't know, whatever. That section of the market that is all in on the professional videos.
Totally.
On the film crew coming out and staging everything, and I'll call out people who have done it, like the KOA pictures from years ago, where they would have huge film crews come out, and those are great photos, right? but and there is an audience that will consume them, but you look at them and you know they're fake.
But the problem is you go to that park of the KOA, you drive in, you've seen this great photo, and you're like, holy crap, what is this what I'm looking at? There's a guy with a 1970s
expectation.
RV that's been there for 30 years. You know it hasn't moved.
Mhm.
And
It had moved. It moved for the photo shoot, and then it moved back.
No, they AI'd it out and then it was gone, right? And I think that's the problem. I think the authenticity is so gone that AI has its purposes and stuff like that. But when you only can fake stuff for so long, and then you're going to be caught. Like that's saying, fake it till you make it. Well, eventually you're going to get caught, like with your pants down. And it's no
there's
different.
two things of school here, right? Like there's faking it, and then there's just over polishing it. I think most people are probably not intentionally, at least, faking it. They're just over polishing it or photoshopping it in a way that misrepresents it. Not intentionally in any ill will.
No, they're trying to make it look awesome and exciting to be there. And I get it because I camp with our product. I go to all these campgrounds. I dress totally in my plain Jane stuff. And I think it's interesting. I go in the parks and I rate them to my customers. Like, this is a good park to hit. This is a crappy park to hit and stuff like that. Because, on every level, they want to see you use the product. They want to see you out camping and enjoying the product.
That's the inherent challenge of hiring a production company, because the guys doing the production just want it to look glossy and pretty. Their priority is that, and not necessarily, they don't always have a good grasp or understanding of who the target market is, and what the consumer's expectation is, and the fact that honest, representation stuff is the top priority on the list is a necessity. Obviously, it's really difficult to balance, making a property look really beautiful when you're, charging a bunch of money to produce.
But because you actually have to make it look beautiful before the Photoshop or photo shoot, or you actually have to add the experience that makes it look good in the photo shoot, right? I don't know how we got down this rabbit hole, but I'm gonna go down this way and talk about this way. I mean, if you have Nate, we were talking about, if you have the guy with the shitty trailer at the front of your campground or whatever that everybody has to pull past and see, and you can't get rid of that for whatever reason. It's legal. He bought the site. Like he has this, I don't know, whatever. You just can't get rid of the guy, right?
He's one of your favorite campers, though. Even though he's got that crappy RV, you love him in your park. He's the nicest guy. He gives firewood to everybody. And then you Photoshop him out.
Right. Or so just figure out a way to tell it. Like now you ruined my story because he's a nice guy. We're gonna pretend that he's not a nice guy. But just figure out a way to be creative about him, right? Be like, and embrace it. Do your authentic video tour and be like, this is Bob's trailer over here. You're gonna see him when he walks in. Bob's a loner. Don't talk to him. Like, you really don't want to meet Bob. But over in this side of the park, it's beautiful. This is where I would recommend you put your lock fee down and pay extra to make sure you're not near Bob. That will get views and attention, I think. Like, it just depends on how you embrace it.
And people think it's funny.
Yes.
That's what's funny about it. Everyone
But
thinks
it's authentic.
Yeah,
it's
100%.
real. It's like you're gonna see Bob's trailer there, and then they're gonna arrive and pull past Bob and be like, shit, I'm gonna veer to the side of the road to make sure I don't get too close to Bob or whatever. But
I think like I said, AI is going to be huge in the trailers. It's going to be, you're going to come in and you're going to be lights on, because we're already started in that with our phones. We got the Bluetooth. We got into that level. It's going to come further. It's going to go exactly like, hey, Siri, turn on the lights, and the whole thing's going to light up. Put the awnings out and jacks, and it'll be like The Simpsons all over again.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that in your house now. So it's just got to come to the trailers.
It's going to come to the trailers, and we're always 10 years behind. So whatever happens in the housing, 10 years later, it hits the trailers. It's always been like that, because they've got to get.
You're going to make it 8 years, Nate. I have faith in you.
It's just making the product small enough to fit in the trailers to work properly.
Yeah,
that's it. And now with like I said, Starlink going on the trailers and doing what they've done, that's going to even open up more doors for the industry and the internet aspect of it, because it's always been a grab, because it's like, Weingart had out there for a bit. Oh, Wi-Fi extenders, which is great, but if you're in a park, a park in Canada people love to go see is the Pinery with the dunes, and it's a park of 1,000 campsites. The closest your Wi-Fi hotspots in the middle of the park, and you're like 4 kilometers away. You're not getting it. It's not happening. So with the internet coming on the trailers, now it's going to make it easier to have more of the systems where you can have it. Hey, Siri, turn on. Hey, do this. And we're seeing it more and more and more. Customers are asking for it too. And then even TVs, like we used to have TVs, DVDs, that was all the rage. Like how I almost don't put any stereos, TVs, or that in the trailers. I can't believe how many US companies I go in and they still have it all in it. And I'm like, everybody's got, again, their devices, iPads, and all this stuff. All they really care about is internet.
Yeah. It's like an infrastructure that didn't exist. Now we can build off of it.
Yeah, build off it. And we have it. And so many of them are so slow to build off of it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know. So.
Yeah.
They could use AI to build off of it.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. And I
mean,
think
part of it is the slow aspect of it, right? That's a challenge. And so there are things that are moving super fast, like we started off talking, and we'll circle back to like marketing and AI and all that, right? And then there's the things that are going to take time because the form factors don't exist, that you say to like customers, like, well, AI is coming in your trailer in this way to control your lights or to talk to Siri or to whatever else, but it's not quite there yet. It's going to be a couple years away. And then they put it to the back of their mind and they don't think about it. And so I think there's a difference between like what's possible now and what's possible in a few years. And it's all going to come really fast.
Yes. Changes are happening so rapid.
But it's the same reason as like people don't care about global warming, because like everybody keeps saying it's going to happen 100 years from now to your kids.
Yep.
And you should care about it, right? Like it's real and it's going to impact, like you should care, but they don't, because it's like, oh, we can worry about that later.
Nate, do you think that's an advantage that you have as a smaller manufacturer, is you can pivot a lot easier than those?
I'm custom building all the time, so we can pivot in a heartbeat. So like I have things coming along and we pivot. Like every trailer goes off the line. The joke with most of my customers is your trailer's out of date as soon as it rolled off the floor, because I'll pivot that fast. I'm going in a different direction because I'll see something new coming or something new to try, and we're going to try. You know, and it's no different than. One of the fun things that we'll see probably come down the road too will be electric assist axles. So they're going to push the trailer line. We're starting to see Lippert talk about it, but it's going to become more of a common thing. So electric vehicles and stuff. So the pivot, like that's quick pivots. Like it'll be like one day I'll have it, one day I won't. You know what I mean? Or I'll add it. Like, you know, I have this system now, and we're going. I don't know. It's forever changing, very fast.
Right.
Greg, what do you think about this? Because like I joke about Vireo, right? But like you have a huge leg up with Vireo because you're Greg and people know Greg, and you've been to trade shows and you've been with Camp Strategy prior to this, and you've been with your own company prior to that, and so you've been doing consulting for a while. You've owned your own campground. You've been going to trade shows. You've been networking with people. So how do you view building a brand? Like you have a Greg Emmert brand, but how do you view melding and building that with AI or marketing or building trust in something that hasn't existed before?
Yeah, so a lot of it comes back to that authenticity. You guys touched on it, and Cara mentioned it really early on. And I have these discussions with my clients all the time. And in fact, I swear to God, I'm not making this up. So this morning, I went through a thought exercise with one of my clients using ChatGPT to sort of reinforce their authenticity, because so the question is, and you get this, I'm sure, all the time, Brian, well, how do I get more campers? That's like, all right, that is such a wide net to try to cast. Like, first of all, who the hell are you? What do you offer? Why do you offer it? Why do you exist? What are all these? So I love the philosophical side, right? I love digging into that with people. But when you get folks who, and this is nothing against anyone who thought, I'm going to build this campground because I can make money. You have a problem. That's a small crisis, because that's not the goal of a business. I mean, you hope it's a side effect. The making money should be an unattended consequence. But really, you have to know who you are, who you serve, like who are your clients now? Who do you want to be your clients later? You've got a current audience. You need an aspirational audience. You've got to figure all these philosophical things out. And you can't figure any of those out until you know exactly who you are, who you serve, why you serve them, how you serve them. Then you can start to understand what it is, what environment, what experience are you trying to curate, and who is that for? Okay, now I can target things. Now I can say, this is a segment that I'm trying to target with these experiences, with this type of environment, right? But then I also want to reach these people. So I'm going to make some changes in that environment that are also going to lean towards this. If you start that, and you start with why you exist, then you can build out from there. But if you try to go backwards from there in, you're in a lot of trouble, because now all of a sudden you find yourself saying, well, I'm going to try to cast this net and capture everyone. I just want everybody with a trailer. That you're really setting yourself up for customers having a bad experience, because you don't know who you are and if you can even serve them.
Who run small businesses generally, but like who
it's because it's difficult. That's really hard to distill a lot of times, because you're thinking in a very structured, logistic.
Now you have AI to help you do that, right?
I'm sorry, I talked over you.
It's okay.
Right, and that was my point. Like we went through a thought exercise with it, and all of a sudden they were like, "This is great, but also, oh shit." Right, so there's two moments there where like, this is awesome because I can do this now, but also, crap, I've got a lot of work to do. And it's like, yes, you do. However, you've got this great assistant called ChatGPT, and I send them the link to the chat. I'm like, just go from here. And sometimes that's all it takes, is that little nudge. But it is such a great tool for developing that if people are stuck with it. That's where, so you asked in the beginning, one of your questions was like, how are you using it today? That's one of my favorite ways to use it, is to spark idea and thought with people. And I, of course, internally for myself, I use it that way too, and tightening up procedures and processes and coming up with different SOPs for myself as well as my clients. And but I love it for that. I love getting people to think outside the way they have, because it's necessary for most of them to figure out their why, and then they can move forward. It's freaking great at that. It's just an awesome tool for building that.
I don't love when ChatGPT gives me a politically in the middle answer. I'm always like, give me an opinion. I want to know what you think, because I need like therapy from it sometimes. I'm like, tell me what your thoughts are, because I'm trying to figure it out myself.
Well, you can do that, right? So I was talking to Greg, I think, about this the other day, about GPT-5 and how they kind of dumbed it down for everybody to mass market to everybody. But you can control this a little bit, like in the role section of your ChatGPT, like I have in there, like always think from first principles and use the Socratic method on every question. And so then it's always asking me questions about follow-up, and it's always thinking from first principles. And so that helps quite a bit. And then also telling it, I figured out, I think after I talked to you, Greg, I was deep diving into this a little bit more, telling it to implicitly not use the internet when you just want it to use its intelligence works really well.
And vice versa. I built in a couple guardrails now where I make sure that it tells me, this is verified information, here's a source, this is unverified information, or this is from my stored knowledge. So now I get little bracketed parentheses on every response that I get, and it's telling me like, so then you can also call bullshit on it, right? Because sometimes that it just is. And so I can also say like, I think you made that up, and it'll cop to it if it did.
I did make it up.
Yeah.
So let's circle back to this where we started, right? Because I think this is an interesting conversation that we should have for the people who are watching us, who own campgrounds and who are like, again, this is overwhelming, right? Like if you're at the point where you haven't had to do marketing, which many people haven't in our industry, to be fair, for like 30 or 40 years, right?
Right.
You haven't likely you haven't created that brand, you haven't thought through your audience or your targeting, you don't have any idea what amenities, like what amenities you have, why are they there, who do they cater to, who really enjoys them, who's using them, who's using the radio and the trailer versus the Wi-Fi, right? Like it's the same thing that Nate was saying, but at a campground level for most of our audience, and it's like that's overwhelming in and of itself. Like, yes, we're all saying you can use AI, it's still overwhelming. Well, how do I learn AI then? And then you have to also think about what we started the conversation with, is like you're not using AI to design fancy emails anymore. You're not using, right? You're using AI to maybe design the design of the website. Is that a tongue twister? with Lovable or ChatGPT or something like that, right? But then you're not like the knowledge gap is, how do I deploy that? Ravi, it's easy for you. You know how. I know how, right? But how do I deploy that? How do I do then SEO for that? Because on WordPress, there's a plugin to do that. I don't know how to do that on an HTML website, right? And so there's so many different intangibles. It quickly becomes so overwhelming to people. And then when we throw at them the like, you can email them, but the AI is going to choose what your marketing message is to display on the notifications based on whatever the model is that summarizes it. And it could be different day to day. And then you look at like other channels that are coming down the pipeline too, that are going to be impacted that are social media. Like the social media is flipped in the last 4 or 5 years to be entertainment. It's not friends anymore. And it doesn't even matter if there's a certain segment of people who will religiously follow your Campground posts and like them, because those people are already buying from you.
Right.
And so the algorithm is not surfacing that. And then you're already starting to see, but you're about to have like 100,000 times more content be dumped onto social media by AI, video and photos and imagery and tech. And you already are, but it's going to get 100,000 times worse. And there's going to be a point where you think you've got this great strategy with influencers, and the AI influencers are going to be better than the human influencers in like 2 years. So like it's a fundamental massive shift. And I think there's a lot of people in my industry, in the marketing industry, who are sitting like frogs in a pot of boiling water that's slowly heating up around them, that don't understand that it's all the whole marketing funnel is crashing down around them. The foundations of marketing are still there, but the whole funnel and how everything worked and how they discover you and how they do everything and how they make reservations and whether humans even go to your website. And so like we've already probably lost half the audience the first 5 minutes we started talking, but like this is what we're trying to unpack. And this is the point of this show, is to do this little by little by little once a month in small digestible pieces. But like it's a lot.
Yeah, it's overwhelming how much stuff is coming out. I mean, I think I mentioned this on another, Brian, we talked about this maybe briefly, but I use x.com to just like get all my AI news, and like there's so many people on there posting all different things every day. I'm just like, oh my God, there's almost too much content for what I'm trying to learn for AI. So it really just comes down to like, what are the use cases? Like what reasons do you need AI? And like thinking it down from first principles, and like breaking down every problem that you have. And I think it's a mentality shift. It's like, how can I solve this problem using AI? Previously, it was, how can I solve this problem by maybe hiring somebody? And in this case, it's like, okay, well, first, let me think about how can I use AI to solve this problem. If AI can't assist me or accelerate how fast I can solve this problem, then maybe I need to hire somebody. So it's just like I think it's an overall frame shift in the way that people approach problem solving in general.
Totally.
It's a good thought, because like, I'll call them out. Oh, we're going to talk about this, Greg. I'm going to call them out live on the show. Campers in RV, wonderful people. Can't remember the exact location. Do you remember the exact location, Greg?
He's not participating.
We were talking about this in a chat we have. And I sent it to Greg.
You were talking about it. I was only responding to it. I don't want to be pulled into the
job the other day for a warranty writer at Campers in RV, and I'm like, I really should just take a bunch of these side jobs and spend 3 minutes in ChatGPT and tell them, you know, you can hire me. You say it's in person, but I'll take 25% less salary to work remote. And I put it into GPT-5, and I was like, how long do you think it would take me to write a warranty with a template for an RV dealership? And it was like about 10 to 20 minutes once you figure out the template and how to do everything. And they're offering probably at least $40K a year. There's no salary on it, right? But you got to figure it's at least $40K a year.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Let's ask Nate.
What's that? On warranty stuff?
Well, it's the mindset that Ravi was talking about, right? But it's the mindset of like this shift. Like it's been 2.5 years, right? Like what are is it? Yeah, 2.5 years, almost three in like 2 months since ChatGPT's come out. What are you hiring somebody to write warranties for you for $50,000 a year?
Yeah.
I think some of the I think it's just justified jobs. I think sometimes when they do it, they're just filling stuff out to fill stuff out. Because I get other dealers writing me stuff, and I'm like, "What's this? This is stupid." Like you just added a bunch of words for we need a hot water heater plug. You know what I mean? We need this plug. Okay, I'll send it to you, and this is what's going to cost. And I think they, like you said, the AI is just making it simpler, because it's just like, we need the plug, and this is how much time we need to put it in.
But that's the breakdown that's coming, right? And we don't have enough time to talk about this, but that's the breakdown that's already started with jobs. That's going to accelerate ridiculously fast in 2026.
Yes.
And even further, as every year we go out past that, is these owners are going to start to realize this. And nobody is sitting here saying we want people to lose jobs. Like, I'm not saying that.
It's not even that. It's not even that, because you can't even get people to hire.
Well,
do the
yes.
job
I
at a
mean,
time.
in that case, right? But that's
Because
also
if you have $50,000 in Canada, you're not going to find anybody that's going to write service for you for 50,000. They want like
right.
80,000 to write on a pen. They need a plug, so they got to justify their job. So they add a bunch of extra words. And
Yeah, I think
I
that
honestly think it'll make it better in the long run that we don't have, because you can run a leaner organization too.
Well, and that's it, right? Like it's not that we want to get rid of jobs, but if we have a tool that can do it's a business.
there's new jobs that are getting created, right? I mean, that's what we've seen in every tech evolution is that, yeah, there is job loss at the initial stages of it. But like, if you're following any of the new companies that are coming out that are AI forward, there's a whole new industries that are coming out. Like the old industry for marketing on the internet was SEO. And now we have an entirely new industry called GEO, which is the new version of SEO. And it's like the Wild West right now. Nobody knows how it works. It's like it did back in 2000 when Google first came out. And so like there's just a frame shift of like all these new industries because things that used to cost too much that you needed a human to do that you couldn't make the math work, those industries didn't exist. But now that we can do all of these things for a lot cheaper, we unlock all of this innovation that
Let me ask you a question, though. I'm going to play devil's advocate, right? Let me ask you a question. Other than the human touch jobs, like you want a therapist to hug you, right? You want an NBA player to sweat and play sports.
Yeah.
Like other than the human touch jobs, name me a job that would ever be created in the future that AI or a robot could not do.
That's a good one.
That's why I think services business are going to be the ones that like crush it over the next 10 to 20 years because you can't replace that. But you can make them a lot more efficient.
Why can't you replace service businesses?
Because you need people, right?
But you don't need as many people.
You don't need as many people.
Right. New jobs, you're right, will be created. New companies will be created. But the gap between those skills and the gap between the amount of people necessary to run one of those companies now versus 10 years ago, that's the problem. And then every new job that's going to be created will be able to be done by AI and robots.
Well, maybe the other way to think about it is that each of these new people could start their own business too. Maybe not everybody is predisposed to do it, but it means that all of the things that you needed, like a whole support staff to execute, now one person can do all of it because they're that much more efficient.
Well, here's a prime example. Like you had the Blockbuster and the movie industry, and they went to digital and everything. They didn't disappear off the face of the earth when they went digital and everything like that.
Yeah.
I honestly think what's going to happen is, like, I have trouble trying to get employees. It's very difficult to find good quality people. And I think in the long run, you're going to end up with more hands-on guys because now they're going to have to go back to a little bit more hands-on. I know what you mean when you say, what can't they do? But there'll be still some things that a robot will never be able to do that a human can do. And it's just going to be the nature of the beast, like change your battery. You know what I mean? Like someone's got to put the battery in the robot. Like the robot doesn't run on food.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean?
Jessica? I'm going to go find this video. Keep talking, Nate. I'm going to find this video for you.
So I just come back and go, there's going to be other areas that are going to happen that the robots won't be able to do on every level. So yeah, they'll be able to do some things themselves, but there'll still be something. There are always new jobs created every day in every industry. It's like the computer industry. When you go back when we were kids, there was no real computer industry. A few guys you knew worked at IBM, and all of a sudden the internet came along, and all these new jobs got created, and all these people left the service jobs. Because Rav said it, they all left the service jobs now. All because when we were in high school, everyone go to computers, become a coder, and now we're going back to maybe more people coming back to the service jobs because the coding, they've done such a great job at it that they can do work itself. I don't know. That's just my throw on it.
Nate,
I 100% agree with you, Nate. I think it's like we're flipping back the other way. Like,
yeah, 100%. That's what I think.
When we were kids, like we were told like trades jobs are not the ones you want.
Yeah,
and now it's like, let's go the other way. Like those are the ones you do want because those ones can't be replaced by AI. Like you can't do that. And so it's I don't know. I think it's really fascinating.
I think a new industry always gets created, and anything when one of the industry dies, another one comes along, and I don't know what it's going to be. It might be going to space because we got to go out there and find new places, or become human batteries, like like a movie. You know, like, I don't know. Like, you never know. Like,
I think we're also going to see I just yesterday had a conversation with a municipality. So a taxpayer funded municipality who's wanting to build a campground. And he's asking me for all these resources to help him do it. And so on a Zoom call and a screen share, I just plugged into ChatGPT just a little bit of information about this property and where it is, and then asked ChatGPT-5 to write me a full, comprehensive, staged development process plan, and also asked it for every single way that AI can help optimize efficiency and make it the best run campground in Canada.
And it said hire chatbots and call agents from Insider Perks, right?
It literally put out pages and pages and pages of everything he needed in 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, as we're reading through all of this, he was like, that's the jobs of like 5 people that work here for the municipality.
Yep.
And I was like, well, you don't really need those guys anymore. You can just, and he was like, well, we're public servants. Like, we're keeping all the guys. So there's going to be.
That's the safest job to have, though, is in government, because they don't care about efficiency.
Like I said, there will be areas where the humans are going to remain prioritized, at least for a while, I think, regardless of, you know, how much AI is taking work off of their plates. But yeah, the perspective is fascinating at this point. I agree totally. I think, you know, I have elevator mechanics in my family who say, like, there's always going to be at least one human making sure every, you know, fail safe, because it's so dangerous. You know, you need that human ability to measure.
I think the problem is framing it as always. So Nate, I want you to remember that you walked right into this. Okay.
yeah, 100%.
Go ahead, Jessica.
I can't wait. Oh no.
Okay, so.
And I understand that, but what happens if that battery doesn't plug in exactly the way it was supposed to?
I mean, I hear you,
And
right?
second comment, what a beautifully AI generated video.
I mean,
I'm just
these
saying, like, there's
things
still
are
gonna be
real,
stuff.
right? Like, these are real already. The only bottleneck to these things being available by the tens of millions of robots everywhere is manufacturing.
Production line.
We can't build them fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same reason OpenAI can't release all their superior models. There's not enough chips. They can't build them fast. That is the
Well, they got to mine the
only
products,
thing.
right? And that's the big thing.
It's what?
They got to mine the products to get it, so they can make it.
Rare earths. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like, as much as it is, how fast can we put it together? Yeah, that's great. But if you don't have the product to put together, that was the big thing when COVID hit. Like, a lot of people go, "Well, did you not like prices going up?" No, I didn't like not being able to get parts. Because without parts, I can't build nothing.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with the robots. Like, you only can build them as fast as the materials can come out of the ground.
Yeah.
So.
Sure, but
And
then
then
the
you need
robots
the
will
power
mine the
for it.
materials out of the ground 24/7, 7 days a week.
It will, but we got to get to that point. It'll take years. It'll take
It'll
infrastructure.
take years. You're right. It'll take years for robots, for sure. Like, yeah,
They'll get there.
I mean, they're there. It'll just take years for them to be manufactured at a capacity. Like, they're already working in the BMW plant. There are humanoid robots from a company called Figure that have been working there for 2 years, hot swapping machine. Like, there's videos on YouTube. You can go check it out.
Yep.
But yeah, it's going to be an interesting future. Like, humans will still be involved. There's just going to be a whole lot less of them necessary. And ultimately, like, we'll see how well this dates. I think
teach the robots what to do.
It'll learn itself in a simulation. There's already, like, you can look up this. NVIDIA's got software that actually lets it learn 20,000 different simulations. Like, the equivalent of what it would take a human being, I don't know, 80 lifetimes to learn, they can simulate in an hour. every different possibility of every different thing, of the ball moving in every different direction, of like, it's crazy. And then they can just download it all. But the problem is once one robot has downloaded and learned it, it can just go and share it with all the other robots. So like, I will see how this dates. I think that the future of society and the economy is no longer one where human beings trade their time for a paycheck.
I agree with you that, but there'll still be guys that will make decisions.
Oh yeah, like
There's
I'll
always gonna
still
a
be
bigger
running
headache.
whatever company I can possibly run, because that's what I want to do.
So,
But like I think that's and who knows how we get there. It's going to be a bumpy road to get there for sure. But I think on the other side of it is a whole lot more great things that we can do with our families and friends and creativity than otherwise. Like going to a job 9 to 5 is a new thing, historically speaking, across
yes,
a timeline.
yeah, 100%.
So,
And you know what? I don't disagree with you on that at all, because then people get bored fast. So
yeah, they have to have a purpose, right? That's
Yeah,
and that's a
exactly.
whole nother. We're not going to talk about that in 3.5 minutes. But
no, I know, but
yeah.
that's one of it. Like, they get bored, and the robot doesn't mind doing the same task over and over again, and making sure it's
24/7.
right 24/7. Because now I did see a video of Amazon bot shutting itself off after it did it so long, and said, "Okay, I'm done," and shut itself off and said, "I'm not doing this anymore." So you never know; they could start shutting themselves off. Going, "You're not
Well, they
giving me
could.
enough
I've had
creativity."
GPT-5 do that to me. I asked it to research 50 stocks the other day and tell me all the stock prices for like AI stuff I was trying to track to invest in. And it was like, well, that's a little bit long. It literally said this. That's a little bit long, but here's 17. If you want 17 more, just ask me again.
Yeah,
It's like, all right, well,
exactly. So like, it's hard to say, right? Like,
but they'll optimize that. They'll fix that. I don't know. Like, I
That
think
sounds like it might have been a union robot.
yeah, exactly.
It might have been a unionized robot. I think.
I think the temporary problem is humans controlling AI. Once AI controls AI, I think shit gets a lot better. I know that sounds scary, but I think it gets better.
It'll improve faster. That's
Yeah.
all it's going to do. It's going to the curve's going to go up really
Well, but
fast.
it'll make better decisions for
Yeah.
all people. So, but there's a whole lot of societal implications we can talk about that I just think are going to be really, really good. Like, I'm not a doomer. I think there's going to be a tough period, but I'm not a doomer with AI.
A lot more time to go camping.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's right.
you're not
Join
wrong.
the campfire.
And then where are all the robots going to go camping? You're going to have, like, why not have a charge dock to charge people's robots and charge them money just like a Tesla?
You're gonna need to, because the robot's gonna need to park the RV.
Well, the RV will park itself. It'll be self-driving.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's assuming if RVs are even the way that we camp. Who knows? When everybody can take flying cars out of the city, those are up for FAA approval at the end of this year, by the way.
Yeah.
So we talk about all this change, but there's so much stuff coming that people are just unaware of. They don't have time or the desire or mostly the time.
Mm-hmm.
Keep up with it. I'm just a loser who spends all the time in my house and let me out. So that's the only reason I know all this stuff. All right. What is that, Greg?
That is an osprey. If you're listening to the beep 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 beep, that's osprey flying over.
Okay. All right. Final thoughts.
Sorry,
Ravi, you want to go first?
I mean, just final thoughts are it's going to be an interesting next 10 years, right? As we see this stuff actually make it to industry. Right now, it's like I feel like there's so much happening, but like the practical application of it to actual industry is still kind of lagging behind a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think hopefully in the next couple of years we actually start seeing like insane use cases for AI that just like completely transform the way humans operate. And that's definitely coming. Like they keep talking about the one-person $1 billion unicorn. Like that's for sure going to happen.
That'll happen in the next 2 years.
Yeah, it's going to for sure happen in the next 2 years. One guy just building a company that's worth $1 billion and then it's traded on the stock market. Like that's for sure happening. And so it's just, the amount of crazy efficiency that we're going to be able to get, and then using that efficiency to, I don't know, go to Mars or something like that.
All right, where can they find more information about Roverpass?
Roverpass.com.
Perfect. Thank you, Ravi. I appreciate you joining us. Greg, final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Don't listen to Cara. She said you can do this awesome business plan and stuff on ChatGPT. You can't. You really do need a professional consultant. Come and find me at growwithvireo.com, and I'll walk you through all the reasons that It was an AI video of Cara actually saying that. It wasn't even really Cara. She was totally hacked out on that part. So.
Yep, definitely.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate you joining us. Nate?
I just appreciate the chance to talk to you all today, and yeah, till next time.
Where can they find out more about Taylor Coach?
Yeah, TaylorCoach.com.
Awesome. Thank you, Nate. Appreciate it. Cara?
Yeah, I think for me, the big thing I'm trying to really kind of communicate with members, campground owners all over the place, is that this stuff is here and it's happening now. And there's this sentiment that we have time and and it's not yet, and we know it's coming, but we can prepare still. It's here and it's now. The early adopters are going to see success as we see consumer behavior around booking and searching for campgrounds and how they're spending their time, where they're spending their time, starting to shift. Those guys that were first to start utilizing some of this stuff are really going to reap the rewards. Even certainly on the marketing side, but every component of this, all those efficiencies that AI can help you with. I mean, there's tons of ways that this can impact your business today that I don't think a lot of us are aware or realistic about yet. And so I feel like a broken record, but I keep saying it's here. Got to pay attention.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting world for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what we're going to try to do here once a month at least. Break down the stuff. And then if you guys need more of the tech stuff, join us on Outwired in like an hour. Greg is maybe going to be there. We're not sure. But me and Scott Barr will be there. We show up every week. So we'll see if Greg decides to join us today. One can never tell. But like we have those discussions on Outwired. That's kind of our like uncensored, beer, whiskey drinking podcast where we talk about all things tech, AI. Last week we were talking about like drones delivering firewood, that like these exist that carry 30 kilograms of weight that you can pinpoint on a map. Like you better believe that thing's going to be Instagrammable. It's going to blow up your park. Or robots that can deliver for $5,000 a robot, or self-checkout systems for $1,000. These all are companies that exist right now that you can buy today and run 24/7 stores and 24/7 delivery and 24/7 whatever.
Yeah.
Tech blended with nature. I think today we're talking about, I can't remember. What are we talking about today, Greg?
That's a great question. I would know, but I only show up part of the time.
Oh, that's true. Okay. Yeah. All right. We're talking about something interesting in Outwired. But if you're not tired of hearing about from me, then please join us later for Outwired. We'll be there in about 57 minutes from now. Otherwise, thanks for joining us. Another episode of MC Fireside Chats. Thanks to Ravi, Nate, Greg, and Cara for another great show. And we will see you all next week, if not on Outwired later. See you.